Hello and welcome to G.E.L Comics. I am your host, Ray Emling.
And I am Matt Guilford.
And today, we're going to talk about The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And by talk about The Amazing Spider-Man 2, I mean the two trailers that are out so far, not the actual movie, because it is not out yet. We could talk about the actual movie like we saw it, and just totally make up what happens. Spider-Man dies, by the way. Spoilers. So, yeah, let's just jump right into it. So, first of all, Matt, you said that you've seen the first movie. What were your takes on Amazing Spider-Man 1?
I thought it was a fun movie. I'm not sure how I feel about their decision to go with, like, the lizard on the first one, but I liked who they chose for him, and yeah, it was a fun movie. It was actually a decent Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I love the direction they went with it. How they made it much more like the comics, where, you know, that was the one thing I love. The original, the first Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire, loved it. The only thing that always pissed me off, and even when it first came out and I was young, like I was probably, I don't remember for sure, but I was probably like 11 or 12 when the first one came out, maybe younger. I knew enough about the comic books mainly because I grew up watching the Spider-Man cartoon on Fox every Saturday, but he gets bit by a radioactive spider. It's in it's in the song of the 1990s cartoon. So I knew that. And you come in and your first thing is to change the fact that he got bit by a radioactive spider and change it to it's a new weird species of spider that gives him powers, and I never liked that. So the fact that he is bitten by a radioactive spider in Amazing Spider-Man, I love. I love that they bring in the web cartridges, even though, honestly, even though I'm a huge comic book fan, I like the idea of it actually coming out of his wrist. I think that's a cool concept, and it makes him less vulnerable, because he's pretty vulnerable already being a scrawny teenager. I know he has superpowers, but when you put him next to people like, you know, Batman and Superman, he's kind of puny, so he's already slightly vulnerable. So to give him web that runs out, I always thought made him more vulnerable than he needed to be. But being a true fan of the comic books, I am glad that they went that route, and finally, you know, they're using that, and it really showed Peter Parker not so much as just a nerd and a geek, but as an actual scientist, how smart he actually is. Like, the original movies, he's a smart guy, and in Spider-Man 2, they briefly talk about it when he has that weird dinner date with Doc Ock, but other than that, you really don't get to see the scientific part of Peter Parker. So I'm glad that they kind of explored that in this movie, especially with him being so smart in high school. I know I just talked for a really long time, Matt, but what'd you think about those points?
The cartridges was one thing that really stood out to me, because, yeah, like growing up with some of the games and stuff, I knew he used cartridges instead of having it shoot out of a weird duct in his wrist. That part always, like, kind of grossed me out a little bit about the Sam Raimi films for some reason. I don't know, just the whole idea.
What about the scientist portion of it? Like, what do you think about the fact that they really show the fact he's a scientist now?
Like the fact that he, like, works at Oscorp and shows off to Gwen and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, just the web cartridges alone, he designed all that.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah, rather than just being like some journalist photographer like he is in the Tobey Maguire films, yeah, he's more of a student. He's more of a kid. He's a smart kid too.
I will say the only thing I didn't like about The Amazing Spider-Man, there wasn't a whole lot I didn't like about it, but one thing I didn't like was that they went one route and showed off how he's a great scientist, but they took away that kind of awkwardness that Peter Parker always had. And it's okay to make him a little cooler. I think giving him a freaking skateboard was a little bit overkill, considering that skateboarding hasn't even been cool since like 1996. Like, I think that was a little overdone to make him so much of a not awkward person, but they really got rid of it, which I'm okay with, but I would have liked to see more of a mixture of that awkward, geeky guy mixed in with the brilliant scientist.
Instead of just like the kid with all these one-liners.
Yeah, well, and that's... No, I do like that.
Spider-Man too. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
I do like that, though, that he has all the one-liners. He's a lot wittier than Tobey Maguire was, which Spider-Man always been.
Not.
Like, Tobey Maguire had a couple good lines, but it's sad when out of your franchise, your character's known more for crying than anything else. And Andrew
seemed surprised most of the time.
That's true. Andrew Garfield delivers the lines in a very Spider-Man way. I love, like, and even watching the trailer for the new ones, how he's like, I love that part with Aunt May, and she comes in and she's like, we don't have a chimney, and he goes, what? Like, just, he's witty and he's funny, and that's who Spider-Man always was, because he is a teenager, and that's something that always made him unique, because he was kind of, I think he may have been like one of the first trash talkers. Like, Batman, and especially in the older comics, he would deliver lines like, that's what you get for being on the wrong side of justice, like random crap like that. You know, always cheesy stuff. But Spider-Man was kind of one of the first characters to trash talk. Like, he'd make fun of the villain while he was fighting him, and I always loved that about him. And there wasn't enough of that in the Tobey Maguire films.
Yeah, not at all. I did not care for any of those, really. I don't like Sam Raimi. I don't necessarily like Tobey Maguire. He's okay in some stuff, but not as a witty Spider-Man.
Yeah. He, so that kind of brings me to the next topic. Let's talk about casting, the difference in casting here. So obviously, let's start right off with Spider-Man. We kind of talked about it briefly. I honestly like Andrew Garfield more than Tobey Maguire. I love Tobey Maguire. Those movies, to me, are always going to be classic because I grew up watching them. But I think Andrew Garfield makes a better Spider-Man than Tobey Maguire.
I do too. Yeah, I mean, just looking at him too, he looks more like him in my opinion. He's kind of scrawny and thin, and yeah.
And he's taller.
He is a bit taller, yeah. And what was I gonna say? He's just a better actor in general, I think.
Yeah.
I might be off base there, but that's what I feel like.
It maybe not necessarily a better actor, but in this role, yes. Like, Tobey Maguire, I saw him in Great Gatsby. Amazing job in that. But
yeah, he did a good job in that.
It was not that was way better than Spider-Man. So, you know, Tobey Maguire, great actor. I've seen him in a couple other things he was really good in. But just Spider-Man was not his forte. Andrew Garfield really is doing it, which is surprising considering this is one of his first roles, really. I mean, I'll look him up here. I don't think he's been in a lot of stuff. Like, I'm sure
he hasn't been in a lot of big stuff, no.
I'm sure he is now. But yeah, everything I'm seeing, he started his career in 2005, and he's been on a couple of TV shows as like a one-time character. He's never really had a big starring role until Spider-Man.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. He's doing really good. So, Andrew Garfield over Tobey Maguire. Let's talk... We can't really talk Mary Jane versus Mary Jane because Mary Jane hasn't made it into the Amazing Spider-Man movies yet. But let's just talk love interest in general. Mary Jane versus Gwen Stacy. First of all, that is a big plus. I love that they're going that story arc. I did not like, being a fan of the comic books, he did not meet Mary Jane that early on. And when, spoiler alert if you've never read the comic books, which if you haven't, shame on you, when Gwen Stacy dies in the comic books, Mary Jane and Peter kind of console each other, and that's where the relationship kind of starts. So, kind of like a rebound relationship. But, yeah, like that's as far as I know, that's where it happened. So the fact that, you know, in the original Spider-Man, he went to high school with her, I never liked that. I didn't think that was good because, as far as I know, he didn't. Throwing Gwen Stacy there as the first love interest instead of randomly in the third movie as a random character that no one needed to see, I like that they're sticking closer to the comics where he's with Gwen Stacy first.
I was unaware of that information.
All of it, including Gwen Stacy dying.
I feel like I've heard of that somewhere. I'm not super familiar with Spider-Man lore necessarily.
Well, we'll get to that more. We'll talk more about that. But yeah, as far as love interest goes, Emma Stone versus Mary Jane, or not Mary Jane. Wow, sorry, I can't even think of her name. Kirsten Dunst. Compare the actors. What do you think?
I don't think Kirsten Dunst belongs in a movie like this. Like, I like her in other stuff she's done, but I don't know. She's more of a serious actor than a comic book love interest.
Yeah, I can see that. Here is something they never really did with her. Mary Jane's always been very tough. She was kind of Marvel's answer to Lois Lane. Like, Lois Lane is the damsel in distress, but at the same time, like, after she gets saved, she's like, I could have handled that myself. That's kind of who Mary Jane was. She's very tough, and the fact that she kept getting in trouble, and immediately once getting saved, she, like, fell head over heels over Spider-Man. I get it, but they didn't make her very tough at all. Like, they didn't have that kind of tomboy attitude that Mary Jane has earlier in the comics. So, and I'm not sure if that was because, Kirsten Dunst couldn't pull it off, or if that was just a writing choice. I don't know. I didn't see it in those first movies. I definitely like Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. She is a perfect mixture, and I do not know what Gwen Stacy was like in the comic books. I haven't read the comic books in a long time, and I don't really know what her personality was like in the comic book. So she could be totally different than the comic book Gwen Stacy. But all I know is I like Emma Stone's portrayal. She's a perfect mixture of, like, cutesy and, like, the girl next door mixed with kind of witty and funny. And I like that mixture. And it plays really well with Andrew Garfield. When I saw Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst, I see it and I'm like, this is a movie. Because, sorry, Tobey Maguire, there's no way you're scoring someone as hot as Kirsten Dunst. There's just no way. you got a dog face going on, Tobey Maguire. I'm sorry. Whereas Andrew Garfield, he is an attractive guy. Emma Stone, like, I can see that. I can see her actually liking him. He's not too quirky and weird that it's not realistic, and their personalities fit very well together in that movie.
Yeah, they definitely belong together more than I think he would with, I don't know, a different kind of person. Because you see couples like that in real life. Like, the guy's witty and the girl's funny too, and it's just fun to be around, and it's fun to experience in a movie too.
Yeah, and another big difference is in the originals, until Spider-Man 3, you don't even see a relationship between Mary Jane and Peter. And even during that relationship, it's more about Mary Jane's relationship with Spider-Man more than it is with Peter. And I love the fact that they're kind of showing you more of Peter's life. Because that was always a big thing with Spider-Man, is in every other comic book at that time, it's always like Superman, and just so you know, he's also Clark Kent, and Batman, but he's also Bruce Wayne. Like, it was always focused on the superhero portion, and you just knew in the back of your head who they really were. Whereas Spider-Man, it was always a very big mixture of superhero and teenage kid just trying to live his life as a superhero, and those struggles that come with, like little stuff like and the originals touch on it a little bit, but like little stuff of, like, you have a date and suddenly you have to go be a superhero. Like, they always did stuff like that in the comics that I love, that you're kind of getting to see more of Peter Parker's life outside of being Spider-Man.
I've never really thought about that, actually.
Yeah, that's kind of what Spider-Man's really always been about, is he's Spider-Man, yes, but he's also a teenager. He has this life that he wants to live a normal life, but of course, with great power comes great responsibility. Which I am very disappointed that they took that out of the Amazing Spider-Man, because it's not a movie line; it comes from the comic books. So it wouldn't even be like they're ripping off the original movie. Like it's a legitimate line for the comic book. So I was a little disappointed they took that out, but I can live with that. As far as other comparisons, there's really no one else to really compare, because as of right now, there's really been no other crossovers in characters, that is. The only other one we can talk about is Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn. It's absolutely amazing. I loved him as Norman Osborn. I don't know who's playing him in the new movie. I know you're going to get to see a little bit of him in 2, and then by 3, I think he's going to finally become the Green Goblin fully and be the main villain. At least that's what I'm hearing. I don't know who's playing him in this. I'm sure there's someone cast. I just don't know who it is off the top of my head. But I love Willem Dafoe, and it's some big shoes to fill.
Yeah, I agree. Willem Dafoe he's up there in the actor list. I mean, classic performances like Platoon and what's that one called? I'm totally blanking on the name, but he plays the detective who's following those Irish dudes.
I know which movie you're talking about. I can't remember the name either,
Oh
but
my
I know what
God,
you're talking about.
I feel so bad.
Way to go! You just ruined the career of Willem Dafoe.
And he's also like a detective in American Psycho, and he's just different in each role, like a lot different in each role, and he can really take on different personalities.
And for any fans of How I Met Your Mother, his name sounds like a frog talking to a parrot. Willem Dafoe!
I hate you.
I can't say his name without thinking of that. So yeah, that's some big shoes to fill. The only other person is Harry. I know the guy playing him. We were just talking about this before we started the podcast. He's the guy from Chronicle. I love that movie. I thought it was done really well. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say it's one of the best movies ever, because honestly it wasn't. It was just it was a good story and had some good action, but it wasn't like an Academy Award winner. It was fun though, and he did really well on that. His acting in that was really good. So I'm kind of excited to see him as Harry, see him in kind of a different role. I don't like James Franco, and my wife's going to kill me for saying that. I'm not a fan of James Franco. He's not that great of an actor, honestly. He plays a good stoner, because he is one, so it's not really acting. And I didn't like him as Harry. He wasn't believable. I don't know. I'll get your take on it. I personally did not like James Franco.
Maybe you're just biased against James Franco.
Well, what did you think?
I don't know. I think he's all right as an actor in certain things that he's been in. As Harry Osborn, I don't know. It's tough to say. I think he was good in the first one, just as a kid, a guy, a friend of Peter Parker's.
Yeah, but he didn't have a very big role in the first one.
Turn. No, but you still got to see him as a character.
Yeah.
Whereas in, what was it, the third one when he finally turned crazy evil?
Yes, yeah,
And
it was.
it was just kind of weird. Like, I don't see James Franco playing villains really. Yeah, he's too happy of a guy to play these villainous roles.
I agree. So yeah, once the movie comes out and I see it, I'll be able to give a better comparison. But honestly, and it's not the thing that I'm biased against James Franco. I think he's very overrated. He's not that great of an actor, really. I mean, in the stuff he's in, and I haven't seen him in a lot of different things, but everything I have seen him in, it seems like he's playing a very similar character each time.
What about Rise of the Planet of the Apes?
See, in Rise of the Planet of the Apes, he was very much like Harry Osborn. He had a very similar, like, I kind of see him as the same character each time.
All right.
I don't know. So we'll just move on with that. So what did you think of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer?
It I the first one had kind of a weak villain. I guess it was a good starter movie or whatever, but I think Jamie Foxx as Electro will be interesting to see. I really like Jamie Foxx and stuff that he's been in. Um, and then I don't know. I'm looking forward to seeing the Rhino, robot Rhino. It'll be kind of strange, but I guess he's a robot in the Ultimate Spider-Man game, though, right?
See, that's one thing I'm a little disappointed in. I think it'll be a cool concept, but Rhino has always been this beefed up, like really stupid guy, and the
Yeah,
fact
right.
I haven't seen Paul Giamatti actually playing Rhino, so I don't know if he's being stupid or if he's playing it more intellectually. But yeah, like he's always just been this beefed up dude, like almost like Juggernaut type thing. Like he just, he's a big guy, he runs through crap all the time. So yeah, I don't know what to think of it. I was kind of, when I heard it was going to be the Rhino, or Paul Giamatti was going to be the Rhino, my immediate thought is, okay, well, we're supposed to have like a professional wrestler looking guy, and we're getting like a 40-year-old fat piece of lard. Like that doesn't work out. I could see Paul Giamatti more as the Penguin, perfect fit. But as Rhino, I did not see it.
Penguin.
Oh yeah, but upon seeing the robot Rhino, I can see it more. It makes it a little more realistic. Yeah, I actually thought they were going to go the route of the Nolan Batman films and do like the Nolan films. The first movie they did two lesser known villains, so I thought they were going to go the route like with Lizard. He's pretty lesser known. I think the reason they did Lizard was because Spider-Man 4 was set to be with the Lizard and Carnage, and I think
It's such a weird combo.
well, because Lizard was being built up for a long time, because you've seen Doc Connors in those since Spider-Man 2. So, they were kind of building towards it. So Lizard was going to be one villain, and then Carnage was going to come in as well. At least that's the rumors that was going on about that movie. And then when no one signed on, it got remade into Amazing Spider-Man. And I feel the reason they did the Lizard was because they wanted to keep the fans happy, as far as like a lot of the fans who liked those original movies were kind of looking forward to the Lizard being in it, and it was a good way to introduce the series, introduce the movies with a villain who's not so villainous. He's like a misunderstood villain, and it was a good way to kind of keep it interesting with a villain, but not like this crazy overshadowing villain. Whereas like. I'll say the first Spider-Man movie did a really good job of not overshadowing Peter with Green Goblin, but it came close. It was very equal. I see that they wanted to do a movie where they could focus more about Spider-Man and Peter, and the villain's almost secondary, which is how it should be. So I feel like that's why they used him. Obviously, they're not going to put Carnage in the first movie because Carnage is a major character. You don't want to throw him in the first movie. But so yeah, I thought what they were going to do is with the Nolan verse, how he did Scarecrow and Ra's al Ghul, and then comes in with the second movie and does Joker, the most well-known Batman villain ever. I thought they were going to go the route of doing the first movie, you introduce Spider-Man as a character, show his origin with a lesser villain, and then by Spider-Man 2, we get Green Goblin. And they go that route, and you get like the big major villain. And it looks like it's not going to go that way. It looks like, and from the trailer and from everything I'm reading, we are going to get a Green Goblin, but it's looking like it's Harry's version of the Green Goblin, not Norman's.
Was it still Green Goblin then?
Not really. It's kind of like he's not Hobgoblin, because Hobgoblin was someone else completely. But
Okay.
it's kind of like Green Goblin 2. Like he is the Green Goblin, but he's not. He's a Green Goblin. He's not the Green Goblin.
Right, okay.
So as far as the trailer goes, I liked it. I think it, especially the second one, it was a good mixture of funny, witty lines mixed in with all the action. So you know that it still sticks pretty true to the first movie. It's going to be funny at times. It's going to be sad at times, and it's going to be action packed. So I like it. And like you said, I love Jamie Foxx's Electro. I haven't really read what people think of him as Electro. I have like it's not like with Ben Affleck as Batman how you see the negativity automatically. But
Sure, it's not as big of a character anyways, so it's
that's
not
true.
a huge deal.
Yeah. So we have a couple more minutes here, but let's jump into some rumors about this movie. Some rumors I'm reading online. J.K. Simmons, who played J. Jonah Jameson in the original Spider-Mans, is it's looking like he might come back as J. Jonah Jameson, which
That would be incredible.
Yeah, and he'd make him the first and so far only character from the original movies to come into the new ones, which would be pretty cool. And it's funny because me and my wife were actually talking about this. Like, who are you gonna get? Who can play J. Jonah Jameson better than J.K. Simmons did? I don't think you can. I honestly think he was the best choice. He was probably the best cast character of that entire franchise.
That might be true, actually.
Yeah. So there's rumors of that. Another rumor is I can never say his name right. Rhys Ifans. Did I say that right?
Rhys Ifans.
Not even close. All right. The Lizard, Kirk Connors. He's going to be reprising his role, and he's going to have probably a cameo, a small part in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Felicity Jones. I don't know who that is, by the way. I wrote the name down. Didn't get a chance to research her. No idea who the heck she is.
Felicity Jones?
Yeah.
She's an...
I'm looking her up now. Yeah, she is an actress. It sounds like a stripper name, I know. I'm looking her up now. She has been in absolutely nothing I've ever seen, so that's why I don't know her. She's apparently been Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's been rumors she was cast in the movie, and it's looking like she is in the movie and she's going to be Black Cat, which is a really interesting character. I don't think she's going to be in full. I think she's going to have like a cameo, and she's going to like introduce herself as, I don't remember Black Cat's real name, but it's almost going to be like a situation where Felicia Hardy?
Something.
Yeah, Felicia. I think it's Felicia Hardy, but either way. Yeah, people are going to yell at me. No, but I feel like it's going to be kind of that thing where, like, only true comic book fans are going to get it. She's going to meet Peter, and he's going to be like, hi, I'm Peter. And she's like, hi, I'm Felicia. And that's going to be it. No, she's not going to be in the movie as a major character or anything, but it's going to be kind of that thing where it's like, oh, I know who that is. And then by the third movie, she'll be introduced more. So there's that. There's rumors Mysterio might be in the film in some way, shape, or form, which I know you love Mysterio.
I love Mysterio.
Yeah. So he might be in it. Morbius also might be in he might have a minor role. If you don't know who Morbius is, he's basically Dracula. He's the guy and I'm not going off the comic books here because I don't know about Morbius's origins in the comic books, but growing up in the 90s with the cartoon, he's the guy that basically did you watch the 1990s Spider-Man cartoon?
Not regularly, but I have seen it.
He's basically the guy that he infused his DNA with a bat somehow. I don't remember the full story. And he's basically like a vampire now. There's rumors he might be in it somehow. I don't know how true those are. So yeah. And then these last two rumors they're rumors, but they're more or less probably going to happen. Norman Osborn, who, in the first movie you hear that he's sick. In the second movie, in the trailer, you kind of see a sickly man sitting with Harry, who you can assume is Norman Osborn. He apparently has some type of disease. I believe it's probably going to be cancer. That would make sense. What they're going to do is, it looks like they're going to have him develop a cure for whatever illness he has, and the cure turns him into the Green Goblin. So I think it'd be interesting and that's what Oscorp really is they're developing, new research for different stuff. So I feel like he's probably going to have cancer or something. He's going to develop the cure for cancer, think it's a billion dollar idea. He's going to test it on himself. And when I say he is, I mean Oscorp. They're going to test it on him, and then it turns him into the Green Goblin. So that way it's not like it ends up not really being a cure for cancer. Like, it cures his cancer, but it also makes him go crazy and homicidal.
Like he'll actually get turned into like a goblin creature,
No,
or
I think
just
it'll be
be
more
aggressive and
like,
stuff?
yeah, I think it'll be more like the original movies where it kind of drives him crazy and it could actually give him like maybe not turn him into a goblin, but it could maybe make his skin have a greener tint. Did I say tent? I meant tint.
You said
Um,
tent.
Shut up. Um, he might have a greener tint to his skin. I don't know what they're gonna do. They could do something. So yeah, I don't really know. We're gonna have to wait and see. But obviously, he's gonna play. He's playing a minor role in this movie as kind of like a supporting character, and then by the end of it, I feel like he's gonna be cured, and you're gonna see that he's cured, and then he's gonna be the main villain in 3. So yeah, the final rumor, and like I said, I really don't think this is a rumor. I'm pretty sure this is fact. And spoiler alerts: if you do not know the comic books and you really don't want to know this about the new movie coming up, turn off now. I feel like Gwen Stacy's gonna die.
She's gonna die.
She
Confirmed.
Is it confirmed?
By me.
By you?
Confirmed.
You confirmed it? Well, thank you, Matt. You have confirmed our biggest worries. Yeah, I mean, it's logical. It's the perfect timing. We're getting to the point where, she has another movie. She gets to be in one more movie. But eventually, he's going to have to move on to Mary Jane. If they continue this franchise without bringing in Mary Jane, it's not going to work. No one's going to accept that. So,
but what about Dennis Leary?
What do you mean, Captain Stacy?
Yes.
What about him?
What about him?
What about he died? What about him?
Oh, all right.
Yeah, no, remember he died at the end of the first one.
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, he dies and he makes Peter promise to protect Gwen. So,
oh, that's right.
Yeah, and remember he promises him that he's not going to date her, he's not going to get her wrapped up in all this Spider-Man crap. So it's leading into it already. And that in the comic books, that's the very beginning of the Gwen Stacy death arc, is Captain Stacy dying and the promise Spider-Man makes to him to not get her involved with him because he is Spider-Man and he's worried that Gwen Stacy is going to get wrapped up in all of it. And of course he goes against that and it gets her killed. And in the comic books, what happens is it's very similar to the first Spider-Man's movie where you remember the scene where Green Goblin drops the trolley full of kids and drops Mary Jane at the same time, and Spider-Man has to save them both?
I do, yes.
Okay. That almost plays out exactly like that in the comic books when it comes to Gwen Stacy. I'm not sure about the trolley full of kids. I don't remember that for sure. But basically, Green Goblin drops Gwen Stacy. He doesn't have enough time to get to her, so he shoots web to save her. And when the web grabs her, the whiplash effect breaks her neck. And Spider-Man actually is the one who kills her. And it's
incredible.
It's a really sad story, and it's a really it really shows like the dangers of it's for the first time it really shows like the dangers of him dating someone or being with someone or just his people close to him in general while he's being Spider-Man. And it's really the first time he starts kind of considering his power as more of a curse than a blessing. And I think what's going to happen is Harry is actually going to kill her or be the one that drops her, which technically it's not Green Goblin who kills her, but technically it also is, since he is a version of the Green Goblin. Some people are going to be upset about that. I'll let it slide because I love that story anyway. And technically I think the way they're going to do it is that Norman is going to kind of push Harry into becoming the Goblin and kind of guide him to do these things. So then technically it is Norman who killed her through Harry as like a tool kind of thing. I think it'll be okay. But yeah, that's the last rumor. I honestly think it's more than a rumor. I think it's going to happen. It's the perfect time to do it. She dies. We get to the third movie where he wants vengeance against Harry and Norman, and you start bringing in Mary Jane.
Makes sense. Detective.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very good. Well, that is all the time we have for today. I thank you for listening in. I feel like a lot of people are probably going to give me some crap about some of my opinions, and I probably got some facts wrong on the Spider-Man comics. I'm sorry. This was a spur-of-the-moment recording. I didn't have time to research everything, so I apologize in advance, and please don't kill me and my family.
So for G.E.L. Comics, I'm Ray Amling, played by Paul Giamatti.
And I'm Captain Picard.
Have a good night, everyone.